Today, we're going to consider Bulletproof coffee. Does it have any value? Does it break your fast? Does it affect insulin levels, glucose levels? Can it help you beat diabetes? Well, we are going to start today's program with a question about Bulletproof coffee. This was left under the segment, the video I did about Bulletproof coffee, and they ask, will this break your fast? And that's a question that you hear in the keto movement, and a lot of people, they wouldn't even understand what is even being asked by that, or what do they really mean by that? Will it break your fast? In the old days, when you fast, you don't eat. When you start eating, you stop fasting. So obviously, if you eat, you break your fast. If you don't, then you're fasting. But these days, you hear the question a lot, will this break your fast? Will that break your fast? What about this? What about that? What will break your fast? What will not break your fast? So I thought I'd talk about that for just a few moments. When people ask, will it break your fast, what they're basically saying is, will it do away or will it negate the benefits you gain by fasting? Most people that are involved in intermittent fasting, keto fasting, and so forth, the idea is we're going to do away with whatever we need to do away with in terms of eating and drinking so that certain benefits begin to occur. And those benefits are these. Number one, hopefully your glucose will go down, your blood sugar levels. That doesn't always happen because of some of the liver releasing certain things and dumping its fat and converting it back to sugar and so forth. But hopefully, in many cases, your glucose will go down. If not, at least your liver is burning off some of its fat. Your pancreas may be burning off some of its fat. So that's part of it. So the glucose going down. Another benefit would be the insulin levels going down, which is very important. And we're learning more and more about insulin and its role and how you become insulin resistant as a result of just too high of insulin levels. And another one is autophagy. Autophagy is a body's ability to recreate its cells and heal itself and do away with the yucky part of the cells and get rid of the dead weight. And we're just really beginning to learn some things about that. And then, of course, as I mentioned, the liver fat and the pancreatic fat being reduced. So those are some of the major benefits. And when people say, will something break your fast, what they're really saying is, will these benefits stop? It's like throwing a monkey wrench into a bunch of gears. Is it going to jam up the gears and stop everything? Or can it continue to function? And so, people have come up with different things you can do while you fast, such as many would suggest that you can drink black coffee, and all the benefits will just keep rolling right along. Some have said bone broth will be a benefit to your fast, and all the benefits are still going to be coming along and working, and you can enjoy some bone broth. You may ask, well, why would I want to even eat or drink anything? Why not just drink water or drink nothing and eat nothing at all? Well, that would probably be the most perfect fast, but hardly anybody can do it. And so we want to cheat a little bit if it's not going to hurt us too much. And so bone broth can help a lot in terms of keeping your hunger pains down a bit, and yet it still is not going to affect glucose levels hardly at all, not going to affect insulin levels hardly at all. And so, this person asked the question, what about bulletproof coffee? Let's say you make some coffee the way I do these days, and I change from time to time, but for quite a while now, my bulletproof coffee has some heavy cream in it and some butter and, of course, coffee. And the question is, will this break your fast? Will this stop these benefits from occurring? Well, for me, it doesn't have much effect on glucose because you're basically loading coffee with pure fat. There's hardly a carb in the whole batch of bulletproof coffee. So it's not going to affect my glucose levels in terms of making them rise. Some have suggested it may slow down how much they decrease. Now, keep in mind, some people when you fast, your glucose levels don't even go down. And in some cases, they actually go up, but that's a whole nother issue. But Bulletproof coffee doesn't seem to have too much effect on the glucose levels. Doesn't seem to be too detrimental there. Again, pure fat. What about insulin levels? Again, because it's pure fat, whether it's coconut oil or butter, heavy cream, it's almost pure fat. It's not going to raise insulin hardly at all. Some may say, well, it might raise it a tiny bit, but really the issue is it going to have a major effect on you, on your insulin levels? And to my thinking, it probably wouldn't. What about autophagy? That's another subject, and I'm not an autophagy expert, so maybe some of you might want to weigh in on that. I'm kind of guessing it's not going to affect autophagy much, but I could be wrong on that. I honestly don't know. Now, the fourth one, to me, would be the one of most concern, and that is when you fast, one of the things you really want to see is to see your liver fat being diminished, and the reports are all over the place that is one of the great benefits of fasting, along with bringing glucose levels down, bringing insulin levels down, creating autophagy. Your body's going to start pulling fat from your liver, from your pancreas, and you're going to lose that liver fat. You're going to lose that pancreatic fat, not with one fast or not just with skipping a single breakfast, but as you make it a part of your life and a part of your routine every week to do some fasting, do some breakfast skipping, maybe take a day where you do an OMAD and you don't eat a thing until 6 p.m. or even 7 or 8. In my case, I usually wait till 9:30, and I know people criticize me for that, but that's what I do. So I think the one problem with Bulletproof coffee that is a bit of a negative when you're going to do any kind of fasting is what you're wanting is for your body to start feeding off its own fat, feeding off the pancreatic fat, feeding off the liver fat, feeding off the fat around the cells of your body all over the place. But if you're giving it fat in your coffee, and you're putting in the heavy cream and putting in the butter, coconut oil, whatever, you're feeding your body fat. So it's not going to feed off your cells for a while. It's going to just depend on the fat you've just given it in your coffee. So it's not probably going to be cutting down on that liver fat and that pancreatic fat when you're doing that for a while. Eventually, it'll run out of the fat that's in your coffee because it's not that much. And then it'll start pulling it from your liver or wherever. But for a while, when you give your body fat during a fast, such as in Bulletproof coffee, your body says, hey, I don't need to feed on my body fat. I'll feed on this cream fat. I'll feed on this coconut oil fat. I'll feed on this butter fat. So that does come to a halt for a while, is the way I see it. So I think probably in some cases it would be good to just skip the Bulletproof coffee and just go with black coffee, especially on an OMAD day where you're going to go sometime. If you're just skipping a breakfast, I usually will have Bulletproof coffee. But if you're going to go sometime, maybe you're going to fast till 2 p.m. or fast till 6 p.m. or fast even later than that. By going with just the black coffee, you're giving your body no fat to feed on, and that body's going to start desperately looking around for fat and say, I've got some in my liver, I've got some in my pancreas, I've got some, around certain organs, and it's going to draw off that fat and burn that up. So that's a good thing. So, yeah, that is one negative about Bulletproof coffee, and I would recommend that at times you just go with regular coffee. You say, why drink coffee at all? Well, you don't have to. And you may ask, well, why would you ever want to use Bulletproof coffee? Well, for some people, and I probably could include myself on this one, I'm much more likely to skip meals if I have some Bulletproof coffee. I find it satisfying, pleasurable, enjoyable. It just helps make me more likely. If I didn't have the Bulletproof coffee, I probably wouldn't skip as many meals. I'd probably be a little bit heavier than I am, and I just wouldn't do it as much. So if it makes the difference between you skipping a meal or skipping a couple of meals and not, better to go with the Bulletproof. But if you can do without it and just drink regular coffee, That's probably more ideal. Or if you don't need the coffee at all, just drink water. All right, well, that's about it for now. Hope you enjoyed this. If so, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to our channel and check if you've been unsubscribed. Sometimes YouTube does that for reasons only they know, so you might want to check and make sure you're still subscribed. But anyway, we hope you will so that you'll be notified when we post new videos. God bless. See you again soon.